All right, this is WNBA 365, take two, lights, camera, action. Okay, good evening, WNBA and women's basketball fans. Hopefully, we'll be back to full strength tonight after our little power outage last night. But welcome in, folks, to a abbreviated half-hour edition of the WNBA 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for everything revolving around the WNBA and the rest of the women's basketball universe. Back with you folks here with a three-man game tonight, joined tonight by Eric Nemchok from today's Fast Break in Elmhurst, Illinois. And up in Los Angeles, California this evening is Tanisha Stewart. Calvin joining you here in Studio 171 in San Diego. Guys, good evening. Good to see you. Hopefully we'll be able to survive tonight without any problems or glitches. How's it going tonight? Good to see you.
Hey, ready to talk about the draft and in early preparation for Mamba Day, representing Laker jersey there. So yeah, I'm ready.
So, folks, we said only half an hour tonight again, trying to make sure we can get through the big news pretty much. Again, we'll talk about what Shorty just brought up and also, again, about our big news we put out today on the network website, again, about our draft day coverage that was officially put out today earlier this afternoon. But social media open for you folks as of the chat box at Calamac3, at ShortyMamba24, at Nimchocky, or at WNBA365 with the hashtag WNBA365. So, Shorty, we want to kind of go to you on this, obviously, tomorrow. A pretty marquee day in the NBA, at least tomorrow, with, of course, the final game of the legendary career of Kobe Bryant with the Los Angeles Lakers, 20 years with one franchise, so many milestones and accolades in Kobe's career. But, of course, Shorty, you actually took it a step further when Kobe first announced his retirement on our website, when he put out a very well-put, very well-written article about, not just Kobe's impact on the NBA, but his impact, though, in the WNBA as well, with so many players that are either under his umbrella, either through Nike, through Body Armor, his new energy drink and athletic drink company as well. Shorty, just give us your overall thoughts, though, on that story that he wrote, because, like I said, it was very well written, but how, obviously this is sadly the end of the road for, a sporting icon and legend.
I definitely, when he first announced, his retirement, via the Players Tribune, it impacted me a lot because, I am a long-time Laker fan, actually a Laker fan first and foremost before anything else. But what many sports fans may not know is, of course, they know about his accolades and everything he done within the NBA, but his impact on the WNBA was just as big as anything. Just so many players, whether he knew personally or, ended up, knowing later on in his career. He touched a lot of those players from being a young rookie in his first year and, meeting Lisa Leslie and, continuing on with a relationship from there on into today. And then you go on, you see players like Diana Taurasi who have, modeled her game after, Kobe Bryant, and of course eventually met Kobe Bryant. Then there was his childhood friend that no one knew of, but Tamika Catchings as well, experiencing, what he experienced being young kids overseas, playing in Italy, both their fathers playing overseas. So that's how that relationship, that friendship began, and, it grew into two stable, careers for the both of them, both of them being champions in their own right. And then later on you see players like Skylar Diggins, which is, the next generation of the WNBA, to follow along with Kobe and her being a part of his, sports drinks company, along with Rashonda Gray and, other players, following along. And a lot of players in this up-and-coming draft as well. You look at Rachel Banham, meeting Kobe at the Lakers game and things like that. So Kobe's impact, in the women's game has just, been a long, drawn-out, thing in his career. And I think he will continue to impact, a lot of the players, from college to WNBA level as well. And his presence was definitely felt in the NBA, and it will definitely continue to be felt in the women's game.
Eric, like Shorty just said, though, and she pretty much laid it out there in that article she wrote, once Kobe announced his retirement. But again, Eric, obviously, as much as, sometimes people say, oh, male athletes don't respect, female athletes, but in this case, with both the NBA and the WNBA, where you see, where you can go to games 9 times out of 10 in almost every city and see an NBA player of some type at a WNBA game, whether it's been Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant coming to the Sparks home opener last year versus Seattle, even Tyson Chandler and PJ Tucker from the Suns going to a Mercury game this past season. That those guys really do enjoy watching the WNBA players play. But Eric, in regards to Kobe's final game, obviously it's the end of the road for an NBA legend, an NBA icon going forward. And I guess, Eric, is there any thoughts you want to pass along, though, about Kobe's impact on the WNBA at all, or what do you got?
Well, first, a short disclaimer. I have never been a Kobe fan. Sorry, Shorty. Sorry, Callan. Sorry, Crystal. Sorry, all my LA friends. But I do definitely respect him and the impact he's had on the game and everything. And, yeah, he's been one of the leaders, shall I say, among NBA players in supporting the WNBA. I think it's kind of a misconception that NBA players don't support the WNBA, because they do. They do a lot. You ask most WNBA players, and they'll say, "Yeah, actually, the male athletes are among the males who support us the most." So anytime there's a player, of Kobe's stature, of his influence, supporting the WNBA, trying to get it out there, yeah, it's always great.
Yeah, always great. And don't worry, Eric, Michael Jordan got me into basketball, so there's nothing there in regards to dissing Michael Jordan, but that was one reason I even got into basketball. But again, guys, as Tanisha Stewart again had put on a really nice article. Again, folks, you can check that out. We'll actually relink you to that article tomorrow for Kobe's final game on the network Twitter handle again, but you can check out all of our stories, of course, on WNBA365.wix.com/WNBA365. Okay, folks, and for everyone else in the Hangout, major news concerning our draft day coverage on the network here on Thursday. We are very proud and pleased and privileged to officially announce our draft day coverage line, which, of course, folks, the 2016 WNBA draft takes place this Thursday night at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 Eastern, from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, CT. You can catch the draft in its entirety on ESPN2 with round 1 and ESPNU for rounds 2 and 3. You can also watch it live on your phone or your wireless devices on ESPN, on the ESPN app or the Watch ESPN app. So, folks, here's the rundown here. In addition to the draft being shown live on television, we will be hosting an alternate draft viewing show for your viewing interest from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 to 9 Eastern Time, being actually hosted, folks, by one of our great network contributors on Twitter from Anela Khan, who is at W Hoops Blogger, and she has invited 3 of us to be a part of the special panel, you can say, for the draft, which will include myself, Eric, and Crystal on Thursday. Eric, right now, again, will be actually attending the Chicago Sky draft party, so if he's able to get Wi-Fi, he'll be popping in. So over this whole program, folks, we're going to basically break down every selection, as you may have probably seen, but again, we'll be pretty much discussing the draft in real time as it does go down, along with breaking down each selection after their post-draft interview. And we will be joined, folks, as of right now, according to Anela, 2 players will be joining us live on the program, maybe even a third one perhaps. We'll figure that out later. But as of right now, we're slated right now, tentatively scheduled to have both Derek Hamby from the San Antonio Stars and potential draft prospect Ruth Hamblin, again, tentatively set to join our program on Thursday. So it'll be a 2-hour program from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 to 9 Eastern. And then come on back, folks, over here to the come on back to the channel, folks, at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 a.m. Eastern for the full draft recap with all of us here on WNBA 365. And, folks, the guest list that I have in front of me from Anela is pretty sweet. What we have right now between myself, Crystal, and Eric, we do have Anela Khan, of course, from at W Hoops Blogger on Twitter. We are also tentatively to be joined by Steven Anderson from the San Antonio Stars, Luis Sanchez, a freelance writer, Albert Lee from SwishAppeal.com, along with the Washington Mystics. Chastity Melvin, former WNBA great, will also join the program, along with Atlanta Dream beat writer James Bowman. So a few of the great people that we have interacted with on Twitter, across the platforms there, either Facebook or Twitter, whatever it may be. We'll have a lot of great, knowledgeable people joining our program on Thursday. And Shorty, we'll go to you. And obviously, this is I'm going to just say it here. In the 2 years we've been on the air, I can pretty much say, Shorty, this is going to be probably the biggest milestone we have ever, uncovered, or the biggest home run the network has hit in 2 years of existence. Bringing on this many people into one show, going over the draft, 2 players, maybe even a 3rd player coming on to the show as well, and again, bringing so many of the brightest minds in women's basketball together for 2 hours. I mean, it does not get any better than this for me as the founder and the main host of this thing to see, further growth now. I mean, this is something that I can really hang my hat on about why this network is so successful is something like this. We've been able to organize this thing with Anela, who has been more than kind enough to allow 3 of us onto the program, and also has allowed us to live stream the event coming up on Thursday. Shorty, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun Thursday. It's going to be a mega-packed Thursday night, from 4 o'clock to 10:30 at night. Shorty, what do you got to say about this action-packed night we got coming up?
My first thoughts are, wow, you definitely going to have a big party, and you're definitely going to party in style. I mean, those 2, names, WNBA players in Ruth Hamlin and Derrica Hamby, definitely big additions appearing on the network at the draft day party, and also you could say the who's of who's as a WNBA sports writers, all of those names coming together as well for the draft party. So they'll definitely be really big, on our parts, even though I may not attend the, earlier party because of some off-air stuff to take care of. But the late night show, the recap, show reviewing the draft and everything else, I will be a part of that. But as far as the earlier show, oh my goodness, I'm just going to say you guys are going to do it very big.
All right, folks, some social interaction from our great viewers, including our one of the folks that will be on the panel but cannot be here tonight. Crystal Thomas actually wrote in the chat box of her famous line, guys, of Soke, Soke, draft day, and yes. And then on Twitter, tweeted the network saying major key alert, milestone alert. And also our good pal Corey back in the chat box saying draft day party, so he's pumped as well for Thursday night. But Eric, as we said again, Eric, you will try your best to join this, mega packed Thursday. Of course, you will be live from the Chicago Sky draft party on Thursday. We might actually have you take over when we do launch our Instagram account. You might be taking over that for host view, as we'll get to that too momentarily about what's going to be coming up with Facebook and Instagram. But I guess, Eric, obviously, I think Crystal just hit it right though. This is a major key alert, but a milestone alert too of this being this is a full-blown party we're going to have in the Hangout for 2 hours. We have, like I said, some of the brightest minds that write for the WNBA or specific teams. We got 3 of us from the network joining in. We've got a few fans joining in. But again, Eric, along with the fact that we will, again, folks, tentatively scheduled for Derrica Hamby of the San Antonio Stars, potential draft selection, Ruth Hamlin, and perhaps a 3rd player joining us on the Hangout, Eric. I mean, like I said, in the 2 years that this network has been on, this is going to be by far the most anticipated event that I have probably ever put on this channel on Thursday, Eric. Obviously the names that we have coming on speak volumes, but I guess, Eric, what does the magnitude of this event, I guess, kind of say about the network again? Pretty much we're going to have almost 6 straight hours of coverage of the draft. We're going to get from 4 o'clock till about we end the show at 10:30 Pacific time on Thursday night.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay the entire time because I don't want to be, rude to my Sky family or anything. I don't want to be, my introverted self. I'll do my best. I'll do my best. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to have players and beat writers and such actually on air with us, just talking about basketball. I think it'd be pretty cool because mostly to have like a change of pace sort of thing. Because usually it's just us talking about basketball and no one's really watching, maybe. But but now we know that people will be watching. And major shout out to Anila for putting this together. She did a great job. She got a lot of big names. Really looking forward to it.
So again, folks, here is the full draft day coverage lineup again, folks. We're going to update and put out our new press release on the website about the event on Thursday. But again, folks, here is your full draft day coverage lineup here on the network again, starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. Right as the draft begins on ESPN2, we will go live here on the network, again, joined by a pretty by a parental and a laundry list, folks, of a lot of great people that we have, of course, been interacting with on Twitter, who have followed the network, of course, guys. We should point out, too, today, Amani Boyette, a potential draft pick, following the network today on Twitter. So the second player Twitter follower in the past 2 days. We had Jamira Faulkner of the Sky follow us yesterday. But again, folks, the entire guest list right now, again, this is all tentative as well, along with the 3 potential player interviews. But again, we will have myself, Crystal, and Eric joining us from the network. And then, of course, we will have Anella as well, again, who's putting this on, but again, allowing us to stream the event live. Also, we'll be joined by Steven Anderson from Project Spurs and the San Antonio Stars, Luis Sanchez, a freelance writer, Albert Lee from the Washington Mystics, Chastity Melvin, former WNBA great, and James Bowman, the writer for the Atlanta Dream for the WNBA.com website. We may actually, folks, probably invite a few more of our loyal subjects and good Twitter followers out there to join the fun. But again, 4 o'clock to 6, folks, will be our 2-hour draft day party or draft day show. It'll be 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock Pacific. Then at 9:30 p.m. will be WNBA 365 Draft Central to recap the entire draft with the normal people in this hangout. But again, a pretty major event, folks. But again, we'll talk more about this momentarily, which brings me to another point again, folks, that I wanted to bring up too last night. But Eric, we'll go to you before we get to this other story. Eric, you had a chance though actually to visit with Dallas Wings player Odyssey Sims for today's Fast Break a couple days ago. Saw the article and the interview done. A lot of people, and including myself, gave you pretty good feedback on that story. Eric, I guess give us an update in your overall. Kind of like your brief recap, though, about the interview that you had done with Odyssey Sims a couple days ago for today's Fast Break.
Yeah, the reason I was kind of interested in interviewing Odyssey was because she is, a native, a Texan native. She grew up there, around the area, and I kind of wanted to get her her take on, what it's like to kind of be playing in front of her friends and family, her childhood friends and family, for a WNBA team. Also, how the transition's going, because she's been doing a lot of kind of community work, I guess you could say, in the area beforehand to kind of get the area aware that there is a WNBA team in Dallas Fort Worth now. And she told me, yeah, I'm kind of recognizable over there. So there's no better person for the Wings suited for the job, I suppose you could say. And also just a few general points about this is going to be like the first season when both she and Skylar are going to be healthy and experienced and playing together. They're really excited about their depth, and she's just really pumped to get the season going.
Yeah, and Eric, and like I said last night before we had our internet snafu last night, Dallas is probably the team that is probably my draft day storyline right now with how they're a really solid mixture of, they have vets, but then they have, young talent that, really I think is a very good mixture for them to have, and they, and that number 5 pick for them is so, I wouldn't say crucial, but it's really going to be pivotal of how, of what direction that team goes in. So Eric, I guess as we have kind of talked about, we've heard, Rachel Banham going to Dallas, we've heard a lot of different names going to there. Eric, I guess as we kind of inch closer, I guess, do you still believe that Rachel Banham is the best fit for Dallas at 5, or what do you think?
No, I don't. I think, Banham could go a lot of places, I think, because any team could use a shooter of her caliber, I think. But I think Dallas, they're already going to have a lot of Odyssey Sims and Skylar Diggins are going to have the ball in their hands most of the time in the backcourt. And then they have Erin Phillips coming in as likely as the backup, and she's going to be commanding the point guard duties. So I don't think that Bannon would get a lot of playing time right away. I don't think she's as good of a fit there as maybe an Ariel Powers or a Jonquel Jones or maybe Imani Boyette, because I think they have the guard depth already, and I'm not sure Banham sitting on the bench, taking up space on the bench, is going to be the best fit for her or the team. So whereas with a Powers, you can slide her around. You can play her at the 2, you can play her at the 3, you can even play her at the 4 in smaller lineups. And with a player like Jonquel Jones or Imani Boyette, you'll have that post player of the future going forward to match up with Brittany Griner and such, and Candace Parker and Nneka Ogwumike and all the towers out there in the Western Conference. So yeah, that's kind of my take on what the Wings might do. But as you said, they're in such a position where there really is no wrong pick for them.
Yeah, no, Eric, I would agree 100%. There is no wrong pick, or there is no foul out for that pick. in my thoughts at least. But again, so much on the line, folks, with the draft coming up on Thursday. Now, again, folks, that does bring me again to the other story in regards to the network. Again, folks, we will again be officially launching our Facebook and Instagram pages for the network again, either perhaps tomorrow or maybe even on the official date of Thursday. So again, folks, for Facebook and pretty much for Facebook right now, it's going to be a like page, so go give us a thumbs up when we do launch it. But pretty much we're going to be breaking down news, giving you the daily schedule of games, and additionally we'll be giving out, we will, of course, as well be dropping in and giving you the link to watch our live shows as well on the Facebook page along with our Twitter handle. For Instagram, folks, we're going to let you folks have a little bit of fun on there, but also I should mention, too, that whenever any of us go to a game, which pretty much might be Eric more than anyone else perhaps going to games, but whenever I go to games, or if Crystal goes to a game, or if Eric, going to go to all 17 Sky games, depending anything. But again, we'll have like a little bit of a host takeover night where we're pretty much just share photos from the game called Host Eye View. But also for Instagram as well, folks, we're going to allow you fans to actually vote for a Instagram photo we'll be posting weekly, which will be called the 365 Squad of the Week, where you'll be picking a player from each position based on how they did each week, and we'll be posting a little Team of the Week, basically, on the Instagram account, which will also go to the Facebook page as well. And Shorty, I know that you brought us over to Tumblr earlier in the off-season, and obviously, now that we're adding Facebook, where a lot of our fans use Facebook or use Twitter, or they use both in my case, or they use all three, which I also use Instagram as well. But again, Shorty, obviously this was also announced when we came off of a third straight month of growth and viewership. We had over a 60% increase from February for March at least, and the announcement could not have been made at a better time. But now, Shorty, that all of us, you, me, Eric, Crystal, and Reagan, all use Facebook. We're all on Twitter. And we're going to hopefully get all of you guys, the rest of you guys on Instagram sometime soon. Obviously, Shorty, it helps out, with the network brand name, I guess. But I think, Shorty, you kind of look at it, though, that now that we're adding 2 more extensions to the, Forbes page, I guess, your overall thoughts, so again, to see us, continue to branch out with more and more ideas to continue, driving up the views, and we've been doing that ever since we relaunched, and again, we had a 60% increase over February for March. So I guess, we're going in the right direction, but what does the new social accounts, I guess, kind of say for, the continued growth of the network, I guess?
I mean, if this network wants to grow to, be what it can, then, it has to expand. And like you just brought it up, since the rebranding, we have expanded, starting with the addition of the website. We brought on the website to help us expand. Then I had the idea to create the Tumblr, in which the Tumblr account is doing pretty good. We got 12 followers so far. I mean, it's still pretty early, but I mean, we're growing there. And then with the additional social networking pages in Facebook and Instagram as well, that will definitely help us continue to get the word out, and just put out the word about us and the network, whether we have live updates on in-game updates or something like that, or like articles, the blog posts and things like that on different stories that we write and things like that. So again, it'll be great. It'll be a great addition for us.
Now, folks, I'm going to just throw this out there blatantly, and I don't need to really, say much about this, but in case you're wondering about who's been operating the Twitter handle with all the graphics and stuff, that's been me. But the beauty of it, though, folks, and also Shorty and Eric, the beauty of it, though, when we do get to Facebook and Instagram and eventually sometime soon, all you guys can pitch in. So, I mean, we can have anyone report scores or report anything. So that's the beauty, I guess, Eric, of, Eric, that's kind of, the blessing about having, 4 other people that, obviously know the ins and outs of the game, but also, it takes a bit of a load off me because I'm the one behind the scenes making all the graphics, for every show. I'm making all the links for all the viewing pages. I'm the one that streams all the shows, of course, but also, Eric, I'm the one that puts out, all, I put out everything. I'm the one that designs all the graphics for the Twitter account. I'm doing all the graphics for the Facebook page, But it gives me a chance to kind of, catch my breath because I know that I have 4 quality people that will actually help out and, and post everything regularly. So I guess, Eric, with the addition of Facebook and Instagram, and as Shorty said, though, with us, wanting to continue to expand, how much does this new expansion, help us out, though, in the long run?
I think for a network, it's tremendously important because you got to take advantage of all social media avenues. That's kind of what we keep telling the WNBA. We got to. No shade though. Like going on Facebook and going on Instagram, everyone's on that these days. So I think it's only logical that we do that too. And as far as us being able to share the responsibility, I guess I'm definitely looking forward to having some power here. No, just joking.
Don't question the authority is what Eric's basically saying whenever anyone else posts something. But again,
it'll be your own fault.
Yeah, exactly. So again, Facebook and Instagram, folks, going live probably tomorrow, but probably more than likely will be launched on draft day on April 14th. And guys, a silly response, but a good one though from our good pal KT in the chat box saying us on IG. So I don't know if she's really up to par with IG, but again, folks, 365 Network going to be joining Facebook and Instagram again, so be sure to give us a thumbs up when we do in fact launch our Facebook page, and also go give us a few hearts on IG when we do in fact do that. But again, folks, they're pretty much just going to be extensions of what we would do on Twitter. So of course, be sure to go check us up. But again, we'll be posting any big news. We'll of course give you guys links to all the shows and all the articles that we do post regularly on the website, along with the daily schedule of games, news, scores, all that good stuff. And we'll also of course also folks, as well as always, of course, Facebook and IG will be wide open for you folks. So please do not feel bashful to not give us your comments or your thoughts about anything in regards to the WNBA women's basketball. Like I said, we always have the chat box open. Twitter's always open, but now, folks, Facebook and IG will be just as wide open as Twitter and Instagram. And of course, again, guys, for you folks on IG, again, on select dates or select games that we will pick, of course, we'll have a host eye view where someone will take over the account for a whole game, and they'll share photos from the game and stuff like that. And of course, we'll also break down breaking news and also let you folks know about our upcoming schedule and everything else included. And also, you fans will be able to vote for the network team of the week, basically. You'll be picking one player from each position on the floor based on their performance for each week, and we'll put that out as well on Instagram. Okay, guys, we'll quickly recap our big story of the day. Again, folks, we will be having a 6-hour block of programming, pretty much what it seems like, but it's going to be broken down amongst different times. Again, guys, WNBA 365 draft party will again be happening on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Again, folks, this was a partnership done, a deal put in place between Eric, Crystal, and myself with our good friend Anela Khan, who's the freelance writer from @WHoops blogger on Twitter. And Anela was kind enough to ask us to join her draft day live stream, but also is allowing us she's allowing us to live stream the event right here on WNBA 365. Again, folks, we have a pretty good little list of people that we're going to be having on between myself, Crystal will be joining us, and again, Eric might join us as well from the Chicago Sky Draft Day Party. But again, we will have Anela Khan, again, freelance writer, Steven Anderson from Project Spurs and the San Antonio Stars, Luis Sanchez, freelance WNBA writer, Albert Lee from the Washington Mystics, Chastity Melvin, former WNBA player in her own right, James Bowman will be joining us from the Atlanta Dream in WNBA.com. And also, folks, we are tentatively scheduled to have right now Derek Ahamby of the San Antonio Stars, and also scheduled to have Ruth Hamblin, WNBA draft prospect, on our program on Thursday, and may have a third bonus player perhaps join us as well on the program on Thursday. Again, Shorty, like I said, this is going to be by far the marquee milestone, feather in my cap event on Thursday. Again, in 2 years, we've not had an event as big as this magnitude, but again, to be able to host a show like this with so many great, some of the brightest minds in women's basketball, and three of our own joining, and three of us hosting it, along with other great people, talking women's basketball, analyzing the draft, and then of course being able to talk to two players, maybe even a third player joining us. Again, Shorty, your overall thoughts again about I guess again the magnitude of how colossal and big and how mega Thursday is going to be for the network. And it's a pretty historic night for us again on the network on Thursday.
I mean, as I've already stated, it is going to be a very, very, very big deal. I mean, you got two WNBA players joining, and then you have WNBA writers as well coming in, and also I would say a third WNBA player with Chastity Melvin. But like I said, it's just going to be a very big event, and I hope everything goes well, no power outages, you know, during the show. But it's definitely going to be a very big event.
Yeah, no, big event indeed. And again, Eric, you'll be again at the Sky viewing party for the draft, of course. So have fun there, buddy. But again, if you do join us again, Eric, like I said, plenty of times. Obviously, this is this is my hallmark moment, I guess, for the network. So it's going to be a really fun day, really fun night. Of course, again, we will be back at 9:30 for the draft recap show on Thursday. But again, Eric, like I said, man, this is the big day out pretty much for me on the network. With the size of the hangout, the people joining, the players that are going to be joining too, and again, we may have a third one joining again between Chas, Derica, and Ruth, but again, probably a fourth different player joining us. But again, Eric, your thoughts though again about the big day for the network on Thursday.
Really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Going to be a great time, regardless of whether or not I'll be able to join. I'm going to try. I'll try my best, but. Really looking forward to it. It kind of adds a little more excitement to what already is like the most exciting part of any WNBA season, which is the draft. But yeah, I hope I don't screw anything up.
And Crystal Thomas to end the night, folks. She said it right. This event might make your head blow off because I think it's going to, but it already has after I got the email today. But again, folks, to recap once more again, action-packed Thursday of coverage for the WNBA 365 Network again. By far our biggest show to date. Again, going to be joining the hangout by Crystal and Eric, of course, from the network. But again, Anela Khan joining us, freelance writer, Steven Anderson from Project Spurs from the San Antonio Stars, Luis Sanchez, Albert Lee, Chastity Melvin, James Bowman, and also current San Antonio Stars player Derica Hamby, and future WNBA player Ruth Hamblin. And that anonymous player, folks, may in fact be just retired WNBA player Candace Wiggins, may be joining us as well on the network for the big day out again. So that is at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock Pacific on Thursday, and then at 9:30 to 10:30 will be the hour-long recap of WNBA 365 Draft Central, recapping the full draft with all of us here on the WNBA 365 Network. And also, folks, again, as a reminder as well, you can catch the entire show live right here. Again, Anela was kind of to allow us to stream this big event on here at 4 o'clock. And also, again, the WNBA draft will again be held on Thursday, 4 o'clock p.m., round 1 on ESPN2, and rounds 2 and 3 on ESPNU. And if you're bored of ESPN, come watch us talk about the draft right here on the 24/7 365 home of the WNBA and women's basketball world on the WNBA 365 Network. With that, though, folks, until tomorrow night, well, again, tomorrow, folks, we'll pretty much reiterate again about Thursday's big event. But again, once more, WNBA draft party coming your way on Thursday night at 4 o'clock and at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. For Eric Nemchuk in Elmhurst, Illinois, and for Tanisha Stewart up in Los Angeles, this is Cal McClurg signing off from Studio 171 in San Diego. Until tomorrow night, folks, have a safe night. Drive home safely. We'll see you back here on Wednesday to talk more about the draft. And again, on Thursday, the big day out for the WNBA 365 Network. Until tomorrow night, folks, see you tomorrow night, and good night. Bye-bye.